Hello. All right, daily live. Let's get Instagram up and running. Then we can get straight into it. Hello, Instagram. Hello, TikTok. Hello, YouTube. We're going to talk about why your life isn't changing, even as a high achiever, as someone who is success driven. And I've seen myself in these cycles many, many, many times. And I have found this way to not avoid it because that's part of life. We're always going to find ourselves in these new cycles that aren't serving us. But the difference is when you actually know how to, number one, identify them, and number two, be able to work through them at the root. A lot of what I see when high achieving women come and work with me is they're actually putting band-aids on top of what they need to work on. So another analogy to kind of look at it in that way is if you had weeds in your garden, you wouldn't want to just lay grass on the top of that, because what's going to eventually happen is the weeds are going to grow through the grass, right? So you actually need to take out the weeds, the roots of the weeds, and get rid of those, and then you can lay grass down. And this is what I look at when it comes to this work, and this is subconscious work. If your life isn't changing, it's got nothing probably to do with the strategy that you're implementing. It's got nothing to do with the modalities that you are doing every single day. And with high achievers, we want to strive to be the best. We are success driven for a reason. We have seen success across the board. We've seen success in our business or career, in our relationships, our money, our health and wellness. But now we have hit this point, this ceiling, this invisible glass ceiling, where we're doing all the things that we used to do. And it did work. It did get us some form of success, but now we're not surpassing that. It feels like we're repeatedly hitting this glass ceiling. And this is exactly what I want to speak in and dive into today. And it's really something that I will be going into depth, absolute depth, when it comes to my container identity evolution. It's 4 weeks. I'm so excited for it. But what we need to look at is not adding more strategy, not adding more modalities. This is what happens is we kind of look at our life and it's like, well, I'm listening to the Audible, the podcast, I'm reading the books, I'm, doing this morning routine or the meditation or the breath work, I'm doing the journaling, I'm sitting and I'm feeling. I mean, have you ever been in this place where you're like, I am actually doing the things? I'm not talking to the people that are not doing the things, that are being lazy, that don't want to look at their own patterns and behaviors. I'm talking to you who you literally are looking at your day and your week and you're thinking, I am doing all of the things that I feel like I'm supposed to, but also these things that I have seen work. I'm doing the things that I've definitely seen work in my life that have allowed me to reach some form of success. So why aren't they working now? And I've been in this position many times. My clients who come and work with me are in this position. And the answer really goes down to what's actually happening on the subconscious surface, what's actually happening at the root. Like I said, with the analogy of the weeds and the grass, what is actually dictating your behavior, your movement? How do you perceive yourself? And this is self-concept work. This is identity shifting. This is actually being able to get to the root of understanding who you truly are and who you want to be, not who you once were. A lot of people want to get different results and see more success in their life by operating as the same person because it once worked. And I get the mentality behind it. I understand why, as human beings, we do it. It once worked to operate as we currently are because we got some form of success. We saw success. And so it's kind of like we're trying to copy and paste that, but you can't. If you want to 10x the results that you are currently getting, if you want to go above and beyond, if you want to live a life that's, above the masses, that's above average, then you have to change your being. You have to change who you are. So the first step in doing that isn't adding more modalities, isn't adding more meditations or more books or listening to more podcasts. You can do that, but it's not going to be your answer. The thing that's going to fix you is actually understanding where is this behavior coming from, aka the weeds, and then how can I get rid of the weeds, and then I'm going to replace it with an identity, a self-concept, a level of consciousness, the grass, that is actually going to stick and get me the results that I want, right? So remember, I don't know anything about grass, okay? But there's different types of grass in the way it grows, in the cut, in the color, etc. So imagine wanting to get like shade 1 of green, but you are operating from a place of like shade 2 green. it's not going to work. You're not going to get shade one green. It's completely different. And this is what I see high achievers doing. So first step, identify the patterns and the behaviors and the ways of being that are actually so rooted, that are so on autopilot for you that you don't even recognize that you're doing it. That's why it's autopilot. And this is what I get with all of my clients to do, is actually start to look at what's on autopilot for you. What are the things that you are doing that you're not even recognizing? What are the ways that you are actually sabotaging the things that you want to do? If you have a project you're working towards in your business, every time you start to sit down and do work on it, are you actually working on it, or are you keeping yourself busy? Are you making to-do lists? Do you scroll on TikTok every 15 minutes? Are you then like sourcing out inspiration and then nothing really gets achieved by the end of the day? That's self-sabotaging behavior. And a part of all the work that I teach my clients, and what I'm going to be teaching in identity evolution, is the art of self-reflection. You know how to self-reflect in a way that isn't shaming yourself, a way that isn't minimizing yourself, a way that isn't judging yourself. It is going to be one of the most powerful things that you can do for yourself. Absolutely powerful thing that you can do for yourself, because when you can self-reflect correctly and productively, you are able to hold yourself to a better standard. You are also able to take responsibility for the part that you were playing in your own suffering. So the part we have to understand is, what am I doing on autopilot? What can I identify that isn't serving me? What are the things that I have been trying to change, but I keep falling back to? What are the things that I am doing that keep me in the same cycles? And then we need to expand. We need to think big. The other side to this. So I have an entire framework on this that I'll be teaching. And just to kind of like make it simplified for this life, the other side of that is, what are we actually trying to reprogram? Right. So the first part is actually the weeds. We want to take them out. We want to identify them, because you're not just going to dig up your whole entire garden. You're actually going to identify, hey, it's only that back corner that has the weeds. That's what we're going to dig up. Right. For example. So you actually need to identify what needs to get dug up, what needs to be understood. And the process that I have to this is actually understanding how this has been created into a core belief. Because the way you're operating, the reason you aren't seeing the success that you desire, the reason you're not seeing the success that you know that you're worthy of, that you know that you deserve, is because you actually don't understand where it came from. You can't get rid of something unless you understand where it came from, right? And how it, like, again, going back to the weed analogy, if you just pull them out, but you don't understand, again, knowing nothing about gardening, the soil or what's happening underground or the season or the environment that you live in, it's like you might use one weed killer and it doesn't work, because you actually have to understand, oh, it's this weed killer is actually for this type of soil when I need it for that one. Right. So just run with me with these analogies. It's about truly understanding where your behaviors and your patterns, your psyche is holding you back. And then on the other side, with this analogy, the grass that we want to put in is understanding the behaviors, but I look at it in a lens with my clients, a 10x lens. So Dan Henry and Grant Cardone speak about this separately in different books and different concepts. So if you had a goal right now, that would probably be the 2x way of looking at it, right? So I'm going to get really, really tangible. Let's say you have an online business, you're making $10,000 a month, and you are like, okay, by next year, I want to make 15K a month. That is more than likely a 2x goal. So you're seeing it from where you are right now. You're seeing in the perspective, the lived perspective of your identity and self-concept right now. A 10x goal would go, by next year, I'm going to be hitting 50K a month. And see how that, like, immediately it expands and it stretches who you are, your way of thinking, and it starts to provide you a deeper understanding of the world and where you are and where you want to move forward. This is why all of the work that I do with my clients is long-term thinking, being able to project yourself long-term versus let's just have instant gratification. Let's just aim for quick wins. Quick wins are great and they feel really, really good to your ego, but they're not going to get you to where you want to be. So see how this is a whole process. So what I want you to take away from this, and of course, if you want to go deeper into this and you want to get some one-on-one mentorship and coaching around this, definitely get yourself into identity evolution. Links are in my bio, or you can just send me a DM. TikTok bio, show notes below for YouTube, and of course, just have a conversation with me if you want to see if it's the right fit. But the thing is, you need to understand what is causing you to be the way you are, and then what you are changing into and how to change into that subconsciously. I got a comment on my YouTube yesterday, I think it was, and it was, I didn't even say the phrase think positively. I don't really use that phrase. But basically, the comment was saying, you can't just think positively, even though I didn't use that phrase. You can't just think positively and hope all is going to be well. That's delusional. There's real world problems. There absolutely is real world problems. This work isn't about let's just think positively and airy fairy and rainbows and unicorns every single day. That's delusional. We actually need to think consciously to understand our subconscious. If every single day you were thinking, I hate my job, I hate the algorithm, I hate the government, fuck the economy, fuck this person, fuck my ex, do you understand the vibration that puts out? That's your point of attraction constantly. Yes, are things happening out of your external control? Absolutely. But that's always going to be the case. But imagine the difference, your point of attraction and how your subconscious is wired is every day you're thinking, I hate my ex, I hate my job, the economy sucks, the algorithm like never shows my stuff, versus shifting that and rewiring that differently to, okay, I'm working through the stuff with my ex and I forgive him or her. What is happening in the economy, yeah, it's shitty, but also I can't change that right now. I can only change what I'm doing because I'm a mirror for everything that's happening in my external life. And this is the way that people don't want to think. It's so much easier to live in fear. It's so much easier to be angry at the world and to not be productive and to not change your life. And this comment, it was just so interesting, and I think I might do like make a reel about it. But I think it's really, really interesting that people just think positively as this thing that you're disregarding what's happening in the world. You're not disregarding. You are just choosing to take responsibility for the part that you are playing in your world. We don't need to worry about and focus on, are things always externally going to happen? Yeah, absolutely. Things are always going to externally happen, but you get to choose what is mirrored back to you. How miserable if every single day of your life, and I'm not talking to, the people I work with, high achieving, success driven, they've seen some success. They are in positions where they are able to invest in a mentor like me. They are able to move up. I'm not talking to people that aren't. Okay. So if that's you and you're like, I don't have a job or whatever, I'm not speaking to you. And that's just being really, really bluntly. The people I work with are the people that are living above average. They've seen success. They know it's possible. And I still say to them, you can have your point of attraction for the entire week to be low, to think, okay, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, like nothing's working out for me. Or you can completely shift that. You can completely say, no, what am I doing right now? If I don't like the state of my business, what am I actually doing differently? If I don't like the state of my career, am I shifting? Am I moving? What am I doing differently? I don't like the state of my relationship. Am I leaving this relationship? Am I doing something differently? And this is the issue. People don't like to get said to be to think positively, and that's why in this YouTube, like I don't use that phrase, because I think it falls on deaf ears. I think what I want to say is that you get to change your point of attraction at any point in time. I like when you are looking at a way of being and at a way of changing and a way of shifting, it's up to you to shift and to change. You can play victim all you want. And I say this as someone who played victim for years. I say this as someone where I hated my job. I hated the government, the economy, like all of this type of crap. And I hated it for a long time. And I was negative, and my point of attraction was woe is me. But I had to change that. Like I haven't always been in this position. I had to normalize different things. I had to expand myself. I had to teach my nervous system what was different. I had to work on my relationship with money. I had to work on my relationship with myself first and foremost. That's the most important piece of work that I give to all of my clients. So what I want you to take away from this is stop adding more modalities, stop adding more strategy to your life, to your business. I want you to think of who you're being. And if who you're being isn't functioning in the way of the person that you want to become, subconsciously, there is a disconnect. There is something that is off, and it needs to be looked at. It needs to be identified, and it is up to you to start to make the changes. So I'm going to leave you with this. As I said, my container identity evolution, we start in a couple of weeks. It is something that is going to go through this in depth. All of the details are in my show notes for YouTube, link in bio, TikTok, and Instagram. All the details are there. It is 4 weeks. You get to ask any questions around identity, self-concept, levels of consciousness, emotional stability, being able to neutralize your emotions. If you feel that you are like this on a pendulum with your emotions, you get highly triggered, you don't know how to neutralize your feelings and emotions when it comes to money, highly, highly, highly recommend getting into identity evolution. It is probably going to be one of the best containers that I am ever going to bring together. I've been sharing some of the concepts for the past couple of years with my one-on-one clients. And let me tell you, just on Instagram, go on my highlights, go through my highlights, go look at the results that my clients have given. Yes, we've got insane money results, but I focus on life as a whole, relationship results, health and wellness results, business, career results. Go and have a look at them, because this is going to be such a great way to end your year and to start your 2025 as well. Anyway, I'm going to go. Thank you so much for everyone who is joining me. If you have questions, please send me a DM over Instagram and we can have a chat. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this and got something of this. Bye.